How are you this evening? Hey, I don't know if you've had a chance to take a look at your email or look online on the Warrenton Bible Fellowship Prayer Closet, but the elders have put out a survey. You'll be getting a copy of a letter in the mail tomorrow. We sent that out electronically today too, and in the electronic letter there's a link to a survey, but online we have the links as well. It'll show up in your Friday forecast tomorrow, probably be in the Monday minutes too. But we really appreciate if you take a look at that survey. We're trying to get a bead on what you expect when we begin to reconvene, and we're in ongoing discussions on that. We would love for you to be part of the discussion. So take a look at those things. It's 10 questions. Take you about 5 minutes or so to fill out the survey. Go ahead and do it. It'll be a nice experience, and that's what I want to talk to you tonight about: experiences. So I've got my tea here. I got to tell you something. This is White Monkey. This is a great thing about buying good tea. I use 2 grams of tea leaves for the White Monkey, and good tea's a little bit more expensive than the tea you would buy at the supermarket. But I've got 5 full mugs of tea out of 2 grams of the White Monkey leaves. Now this is probably the last cup I'll have of that. But you can stretch these things and you can enjoy them a little bit longer. So get yourself something to relax with. And I want you to open up your Bibles to John chapter 20. John chapter 20. Now, this is the passage about Thomas. Jesus has arisen. He's appeared to Mary Magdalene. He's appeared to some of the disciples. And then we see in verse 24, John 20. Now, Thomas, one of the 12, called the twin, was not with them when Jesus came. So Thomas hasn't seen Jesus personally. Verse 25, so the other disciples told him, we've seen the Lord. But he said to them, unless I see in his hands the mark of the nails, and place my finger into the mark of the nails, and place my hand into his side, I will never believe. Now, what Thomas is saying is, I need to experience him personally. I need to have a tangible experience with the Lord. And so there's where the questions begin to rise. Right now we're having a lot of very unusual experiences, and a lot of us are going through experiences that we've never had before, that nobody's ever had before. And we're probably going to continue to have some very unusual experiences. And the question will arise, just as it does with Thomas, is your belief in Jesus Christ going to rely on your experience, or is it going to rely on what Jesus says about himself? Now, the other disciples have seen the risen Christ. And maybe we can go a little easier on Thomas because he's got to take their word for it, but they say he's risen. He's saying, I don't believe you unless I see it myself. So he wants to have this experience. So look what happens in verse 26. 8 days later, this is over a week afterwards, his disciples were inside again, and Thomas was with them. Although the doors were locked, Jesus came and stood among them and said, peace be with you. So Thomas is there, and Jesus shows up. I don't want to make too much about the doors being locked. It doesn't say Jesus moved through a wall. It doesn't say he didn't. But, we don't really know how he got in the room. And I'm sure some supernatural event has happened. But the real supernatural event is coming. Because in verse 27, he said to Thomas, so Jesus turns to Thomas and says, put your finger here and see my hands, and put out your hand and place it in my side. Do not disbelieve, but believe. So Jesus very graciously gives Thomas the experience that he has asked for, and has acknowledged that Thomas wasn't going to believe until he had this tangible experience. So in verse 28, Thomas gets it. He says, he answered him, my Lord and my God. Jesus said to him, now watch this, have you believed because you've seen me? And literally, if we were going to translate that more accurately in a way we can understand it, Jesus is saying, yeah, oh, sure, now you believe because you've seen me. And then Jesus says this, and watch this carefully. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. So I hope you see what just happened here. Thomas believes. He believes based on his experience. Jesus says that's good. But the blessing goes to those who have faith and believe without the tangible experience. So as we walk through this whole coronavirus situation, we're going to have to determine whether or not our faith in him is based on the experiences we're having or based on what he says. Because his word says that he has authority over this. His word says that there's something far greater beyond this than we could ever imagine. His word says that those who believe him, he will come back for. He's already preparing a place for us. And that takes faith to believe. Nothing wrong with your experiences. There's nothing wrong with being influenced by your experiences, but we shouldn't be derailed by it. We shouldn't allow our faith to depend on the experiences we have. I hope you have a great night. I hope you sleep peacefully and well. I love you. I miss you. I'll talk to you in the morning.